I'm a user of the technology. This is not a marketing campaign, brother. It's a business. Utilization of this technology, blockchain, rug pulling, changing terms. 4 players actually control the protocol. Because you have institutional capital, got to be decentralized. CBDCs, they're not really that bad.
Many scams, many bankruptcies. What are the common misconceptions you think should be cleared up? Talk about common misconceptions. Let's agree that blockchain industry has been for a long time. Right? A lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff happened in the past. Many scams, many bankruptcies. What are the common misconceptions you think should be cleared up, at least in the States, about blockchain and the crypto?
I'm a user of the technology. To a degree, I'm an apologist of the technology. You know what I mean? Because I have to be.
Yeah.
But it serves a function. And if that function is not found valuable, this is not a marketing campaign, brother. It's a business. And what I want to do is say our ability to commute trust in origins of data, state of data, process of data, so that for any automation tool they have context, attribution, and trust, man, that sells. That sells in Peoria today. And I don't need to, Oracle doesn't sell SQL databases, brother. They sell enterprise solutions that power businesses for better decision making. They don't bring up the word SQL ever. So from my standpoint, the utilization of this technology inside other tools is what's going to happen, is what's going to drive it. But the nimbleness and the dynamic nature of an ecosystem that DeFi needs to create, where people are working together with one another better, is going to be what really drives this. So what misconceptions need to be removed? I would say we need to have people who are in blockchain behaving appropriately and not, rug pulling, changing terms. They don't like the economic outcome, and it's supposed to be decentralized, but 4 players actually control the protocol, right? And what happens is there's a mechanism where they want to control the risk because their investors are asking them to control the risk, but so they're maintaining centralization, which is contrary to the whole thesis of what we're doing. Let me give you an example. I was at an event in Silicon Valley a year ago, a little bit more, and this is right after, a little bit less, I guess, right after the Ripple decision was made. The founder of Ripple was there, so he was the opening talk, talking about what happened and how they had gotten that first great ruling on Ripple, and they had fought for years.
Yep. And
then they won. And he was giving a talk to all the founders that were in the room, and here's what you need to do. You need to have a vision. Here's what's tight that you need to stick tight to. Here's what's loose that you're willing to move on as tactically change as the environment changes. And it was a great thing. And he was talking about having vision. Then right after them, there were 5 high-profile venture capitalists from Silicon Valley. All of them immediately said, we don't mean to disagree with Chris here, but we don't agree with him at all, right? And just literally they went one at a time, boom, 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 boom. No, don't try and do this. You got to give up control if you want to get real investors in, blah, blah, blah. And they were basically telling the founders, don't do what they did. So I was in a position where I could moderate, and I asked the question. I said, hey, listen, I want one at a time, all of you. If you had been on his board, would you have told Ripple when you got the Wells notice to settle, or would you have said fight it? And every single one said, I would have, for the point of protecting my investment, I would have told them to settle. And you know what? That is the wrong answer for the industry. And so one of the things that happens is, because you have institutional capital or venture capitalists who are not really driving the ecosystem, they're looking to do this, and they want to maintain a de-risked solution as much as humanly possible. So they fight giving up control, which will prevent the rug pulls, which will prevent the restructuring of the trade, all of these various different things that happen. And so you have contrary interests. So I want to tell you, from my perspective, we've we've got to be decentralized. We've got this whole thing where proof of work is going to come back, right? I really love this new protocol Cadena because it's a proof of work standard that's fantastic. That's got this programmability on top of it. I love them. Annalise Osborne, who's their new biz dev person, is one of the greats in the industry. These, all the banks saying, oh no, it's got to be permissioned, it's got to be, a limited number of nodes, it's got to be centralized. No, it doesn't. And so what are the misconceptions? Don't sell out the birthright of DeFi because you want to please an institutional player. I think maybe I went on. I don't think I answered your question, and I talked about something other.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I totally agree. How sometimes investors on board, they try to tend to, because they are not like the market players or even the users sometimes, so they are just like driven by the wrong things. 100% agree. That's why always me, other founders or older founders, we love to have value and strategic investors on our tables. uh, Patrick, it was amazing having you today. Any closing remarks? Anything you would love to conclude today about?
Well, first off, I want to just thank you for having me. What a
My
pleasure to be
pleasure.
with you. And if I could come on again, I would do it in a heartbeat. You're a pleasure to be with. I'd like to say maybe two things if I can.
Sure.
The first is transformation in capital markets. We have to be realists about what we can achieve in the near term, but we have to be idealists about where we're going.
Love that.
So we can't sell out the vision of the decentralization. We can't sell out the vision of data ownership and sovereignty at the edge of data at the edge, and the ability to store value in systems where we just give our rights away to hey, CBDCs, they're not really that bad. Government surveillance happens anyway, so why not? We're just going to use CBDCs instead of stablecoins. I don't know. That's a great idea. And yes, maybe it's really cool to do a press release saying you're part of a big pilot with IBIS or some entity that is in some way contrary to the goals of DTCC. And we need to say, let's have an eye on the road and be realists so that we can continue to make progress. But let's not give up along the way these ideals that we are trying to create a better store of value that can't be manipulated. Right? That's why we're here. That's the gig. And so those are maybe my two comments. Let's be realists, but as we're realists, we got to do so in the context of let's transform how people store and trade value.
That's amazing to hear. Thank you so much for making the time today. And everything you said made a lot of sense and even left me to think about many things after this. Thank you so much, Patrick, for your time.
Thank you, brother. God bless. Bye-bye.